So hello everyone, let us solve another LeetCode problem, and the problem name is swap nodes in pairs. So let us read the problem statement first. So you are given a linked list. Now our task is to swap every two adjacent nodes and return its head. And they have also said that you can't modify the values of the linked list nodes. So what does that mean? So let's say we have some value node 1 and 2. So we can't do that. We change this node value 1 to 2 and value 2 to 1. So they don't want us to do that. So that means we just need to change the next pointer of each and every node in order to achieve the accepted solution for this problem. Now I have already told in my previous linked list video as well, whenever there is problem related to linked list, we just need to play with the help of pointers, nothing else. So in this problem also we will just play entire game with the help of pointers, and then we will get our accepted solution. So this question is pretty much easy in terms of understanding. So what I'll do, I'll just directly tell you I'll directly dry run the algorithm on this first example, and it is very self-explanatory. So when I'll show you the dry run, you will automatically understand like what is happening. So yeah, it is very basic. So I'll just dry run the algorithm directly onto this first example, and then I'll show you the code as well. So let us see this first example. So I have drawn this linked list here as well, so that we can easily visualize how the pointer things will work. Now in this question we will take help of two pointers, which will be previous pointer and current pointer. With the help of these two pointers we'll be able to solve this problem. So first of all, what we will do, we will create one dummy node. Now this dummy node will be initially pointing to head of the linked list. Now why we have created this dummy node? To handle many edge cases as well, because in linked list question there might be many edge cases. Also because initially now our head will be changing. So after swapping these first 1 and 2 node, our new head will be becoming 2. So to handle these kind of cases, it's better to create one dummy node initially and then return it at the end the dummy node's next value as the head of the linked list. So it's better to keep the dummy node. So how will we solve this problem? So initially we will keep our previous pointer to the dummy node and current pointer to the head of the linked list. Now what we will do, first of all we will change the previous next pointer to current's next pointer. Now current's next is 2, so we'll point previous next pointer to point to 2. So previous next will now point to current's next pointer. So let me just erase this part. Yes, and as we have already seen, as you can see in the output as well, our new head will be 2. So yeah, we can see that dummy's next or previous next is 2. So we can say that yeah, this will be our new head. We will see in that later part, but for now we are just changing at the first step previous next pointer to current's next pointer. In the second step, what we will do, we will change the current's next pointer. Now current's next pointer will be changing to current's next. What is current's next? Current's next is 2 and 2's next is 3. So current's next will now point to 3. So current's next will now point to 3. So let me just erase these additional arrows. Yeah. So in the first step we have just changed the previous next to current's next. In the second step we are changing current's next to current's next. In the third step, what we will do, we need to change this node which is of the node with value 2, its particular pointer to point to 1. So how we will do it? So what is this 2 node? 2 node is nothing but previous next. So previous next will now point to current, because previous next is this 2 and its next pointer is previous next. So previous next will now point to current. So let me just remove all the other edges. So yeah, This after our first iteration, this is the scenario of our linked list. Now after that, our previous pointer and current pointer will move one step ahead. So our previous will now point to current, and current will now point to previous next. Previous next is 3, so current will be here. So I'll just erase this part, and I'll redraw this entire linked list so that you can easily visualize all this thing. So let me just redraw this. So initially, let me remove this part as well, erase. Okay, so initially this will be the dummy node. It will be pointing to 2, 2 will be pointing to 1, 1 will be pointing to 3, 3 will be pointing to 4. And where our current and previous will be? Current will be here, and previous will be pointing to node with value 1. Now we will repeat the same process again. Now what was the first step? First step was to change the previous next pointer to current's next. So previous next pointer, which is this, will now change to current's next. So current's next is 4. So this is the scenario. In the second step, we have changed the current's next pointer. So current's next pointer is this part. It will now point to current's next. Current's next is nothing but null value. So current's next will now point to current's next, which is null. So let me just erase this part. Yeah. So in the first step, what we have done? We have changed previous next to current's next. In the second step, current's next to current's next. In the third part, what we will do? We will change previous next to current. So previous next is this 4, and it's next to current. So it's next to current. So this is our scenario. In the end, we will change both of these pointers one step ahead. Now, first of all, previous will be pointing to current, and current will be pointing to previous next. So previous next is null, so previous will be now pointing to current will be now pointing to null. So yeah, let me just erase this. So yeah, this was our complete iteration, because if any of the pointer will point to null, either current or prev, that means we have completed our iteration and we have successfully solved the problem. So let me just again redraw this for you so that you can easily visualize. So this is 0, this is 2, this is 1, and 1 will be pointing to 4, 4 will be pointing to 3, and 3 will be pointing to null. And in the end, we need to return the head of the linked list. So we need to return the head. So our new head will be nothing but this node 2. So this node 2 is nothing but dummy's next value. So in the end, we will return this head as our new head. So this was our answer for this particular test case. So if you can see, it matches with our output as well. So this is how we will solve this particular problem. Now let us see the code now. So let us see the code now. So initially we have created the dummy node, and we are just assigning value 0 to it. It doesn't make any sense. We can assign any value. Then what we have done, we need to we need to point it to the head of the linked list. So as we have seen, initially 0 would be pointing to 1. So this was this step. After that, we are initializing both pointers, previous and next. So initializing previous pointer and current pointer. Now our iteration starts. So this is our entire iteration. So as we have seen in the last iteration, any of the value becomes null, we will stop our iteration. So this particular condition will take care of that. Now in this first step, what we have seen, previous next would be pointing to current's next. So this was step number 1. In the second step, what we have seen, currents next would be pointing to currents next. So this was the second step. In the third step, what was that? Previous next would be pointing to current. So this was the third step. In the end, we are just moving both the pointers one step ahead for further iteration. So moving both pointer ahead. In the end, what we have seen, we need to return new head, and new head will be nothing but the dummy node's next value. So we are just returning dummy node's next value as a new head, and this will be our main head which we need to return for the final solution. So I hope you understand this particular problem. Thank you.